Good evening and welcome to Gator's Garage, the home of all things historical and science fiction gaming in and around the great city of Savannah, Georgia. And we have with us tonight Mr. Randy. It's the weekly Mike and Randy show. There we go.
Yep.
We had tonight's show comes from one of our viewers, so we do listen to you folks. Check it out. I think we also Randy do a pretty good job of making sure at least one of us answers questions when we get them on the feeds. Sometimes both of
Yeah.
us. So yeah,
Yep.
the show is absolutely a partnership between us and you, our viewers, and we really appreciate that. So tonight we're going to be looking at three different army lists. So we're going to go through them probably pretty quickly, try and keep the show under an hour so nobody falls asleep on us. But we're going to look at the armies, two comparable German armies. I can say that real fast. One from the rule book, one from Armies of Germany. Randy's going to walk us through those,
Yep.
and then we're going to take a hard look at his optimized list, which is really interesting. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming summer tournament that we have coming in about 2 weeks. So there we go. Before we go much longer, just want to remind everybody: be sure to do all the YouTube things. Click like, click subscribe, and share. That's right. That's right. It's that button right there. And share the show with your friends. Share it with your enemies. Yes, you click with the mouse. The mouse does the clicking. Yes, but I love it. As you can tell, Randy and I really enjoy bringing this to you folks every week. We love
Yep.
World War II. We love bolt action. Uh, and so this is really, it's first and foremost about just talking with you, our friends, about what is really one of our most favorite hobbies. Of course, best way to support the show: buy some merch from Gator Games and Books, but you can also buy us a coffee on Ko-Fi or Patreon, because Saints knows this is definitely thirsty work. So, Randy, let's take a look first at the armies of Germany, and all three lists were pulled from Easy Army. Uh, we
Yeah.
Because it's a free resource that probably more people are going to have more access to. So we went that route, and we did find a couple of. I'm a little too far ahead here. We did
Couple
find a
issues.
couple issues, and we'll point those out. But man, the guys at Easy Army, what they do is amazing, and they do it. They literally do it for the love of the hobby. So I really got to take big hats off to them.
Yeah.
Actually, what we probably need to do, Randy, is shoot them a little note and say, "Hey, we found a small error," and then told the world about it. Hope you don't mind. We
So
actually didn't
yeah.
spot it till looking at the list. So there you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Right.
So as a
So
TO, it can be challenging too when Easy Army lists come towards you.
yeah,
You really got to look them over because there can be errors.
yeah, yeah, and it makes that TO's job just that much more interesting.
Yeah.
So we have here. We're starting off with the rule book,
Rule
and
book. Yep.
yep, yep. And before you dive into that, Randy, I just want to say, if you're looking at this and you don't normally play bolt action, or you play bolt action and you're trying to get your friends in it, remind the folks that both the little rule book that comes in the starter box, Band of Brothers, Battle of the Bulge, and the full size rule book come with complete army lists. And that is such a value that Warlord brings to our hobby and brings to our players. So, you know, you are no slouch if all you ever have is your troops and your rule book. You are absolutely good to play. So, Randy, take us away. Walk us through this rule book list, bro.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll be comparing the rule book versus the armies of and pick units that we can kind of show you what the differences are and how you
Nice.
build them.
Yeah.
So first off, we'll go with the headquarters unit, and if you'll notice, out of character, I have a regular uh,
No.
platoon commander. And so the reason for that is the equipment for these officers in the core book are free. So, and Germany is one of the few armies that, well, the only army that can take assault rifles, and they are so good. It just makes sense to build a three-man squad and give them assault rifles because they're free. So
Nice.
that's why I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
All right.
again, when whatever list you're building your army to, build your army, build something, build the most effective and cost efficient force you can. Go ahead, Randy. I
Yeah.
like this. It's nice.
Yeah, and so other armies can do submachine guns, but the short range kind of puts them in jeopardy. Whereas this 18-inch range means that they can stay fairly safe and lay down quite a bit of firepower.
Yeah.
So, starting with the squads, we have Air Grenadiers with double light machine guns.
Hmm.
This is something that's different from the armies of, because the armies of, I think you have to have, in order to get 2 light machine guns, you have to have veterans. But in this list, you can take regulars, so it's a lot
Nice.
cheaper. These are
Yeah.
backline holders. They're just going to sit down and lay down 10 shots. And they can take a few casualties and keep on shooting.
And I gotta tell you, it's been a while since I played in a tournament, but I remember one specific tournament where I ran veteran infantry. I ran Fallschirmjägers. And one of the most effective units I had was one of these 5-man teams with a pair of light machine guns. I could tuck them in tight because you got your NCO up front with his rifle or toward the back with his rifle.
Yeah,
You got 2 light machine guns up front, and then you tuck those assistant gunners because they just have to be within an inch. So I'll tuck those
yeah,
assistant gunners back behind the light machine guns, and so your frontage is only 50 millimeters, and that's significant. you know,
yeah.
Yeah, you're
And
rolling.
what else? What else you can do is you peek out both the light machine guns, and you put
Hmm.
the other 3 guys behind cover. Now they get hard cover. If they're behind the building,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
Just a heads up, you're a little tinny, Randy.
am I?
I'm not
I might be a
yeah,
little close. So, if you'll notice, the one squad has an extra. I just had 10 points left over, so there's a 6-man and a 5-man, but they're basically both the same thing. They're gonna sit back and just shoot.
all right,
And then the next squad is some more Hair Grenadiers. These are veterans,
right,
eight man, all with assault rifles. This is going to be get in your face and just hose you down
right.
squad, and they'll be riding in a Hanamag.
Okay. And then the
Um,
veteran, because you got that 5+ to wound, so
yeah,
um, they're
much
a
more
lot more
survivable.
survivable.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, just to make everybody's eyes cross, they are 17% more survivable.
yeah.
There you
So
go.
eight guys are going to lay down 16 shots with no movement penalty. So you get them,
Wow.
and if you get them in point blank with somebody, you're going to just ruin whatever you hit.
Right. Right. Um, I know there's a raging debate about close combat, but why bother if you can get to point blank and hit
Hmm.
somebody on a 3+? And I
Two,
think
two.
two is two.
Yeah, because assault rifles don't pay for movement, so they're going to hit on a 2.
Yeah, because it's a -2 for point blank, isn't it? It's vicious.
Yeah.
So
So
interesting. Yeah.
out of 16 shots, you're going to probably hit with 14 of them,
Right.
and yeah,
And just for comparison, the assault rifle squad lays down 16 dice,
hmm
where the light machine gun squad lays down 5, 10, 11,
10.
12 dice max
Yeah,
at 24, 10 at range. But at the same range as the assault rifles, the the light machine gun squad's laying down 12, the assault rifle's laying down 16.
yeah,
Holy Hannah. Or
yeah,
10 is 12? No, I'm sorry. 11. 5 and 5, and then 1. So 11 and
yeah,
11.
because you got loaders. Yeah, so it'd
Right.
be 11. But
Yeah.
it's really going to be 10, because the other guys are probably, you're going to want to keep them far enough out of range they're not getting shot back at unless it's a machine gun.
Right. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
fair point. And they do outrange the assault rifle by 6 inches if you have to close it up. So
yeah.
as far as the rifles go, so cool beans. All right, very nice.
Company
Company.
commander, but yeah, that's an absolute must for Germans, because they get the 5 snap twos. So if you want to do some, bull rushing, he's the guy to
Right.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
he'll probably ride in the Hanamag, or maybe jump out and run behind it. I don't know.
Okay.
But you want to keep him alive. Now, I do have 2 light mortars here.
I see that.
Um, yeah. And So they're just good. They're really good, cheap, and they do some good work.
They cause trouble and
Um,
they make your opponent nervous.
yeah, the Hanamag is that thing is probably the best value for armored vehicles. I mean, 62 points regular, and
Right.
it's got the Hitler's buzzsaw, so you're getting 4 shots. I mean, that's phenomenal.
And carries up to 12 guys.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just amazing.
It's funny because in version 2, the Hanamag was non-existent. Nobody brought Hanamags because they were just too expensive. Now they're everywhere.
I drove them in version 2, and my army for version 3 is going to be a Panzer Grenadier unit. So I like them.
Yeah,
I like to use them like IFVs. Basically dump off the infantry, push them forward, leave that half track off to the side, laying down support. And that's important too, because man, you push that half track up too close to the enemy, and oh look, instant capture. So
yeah.
there you go. All right, next page. We got a ways to go tonight.
Armor,
So
armor platoon. All right.
armor. Yes.
Yep. So I had to do some comparison work here. So we have a Panzer IV,
Okay.
and it's veteran. Um, just because we'll see later in the armies of the special rules Panzer Ace.
Right.
Um, so trying to do apples for apples here and show the
Okay.
difference. Um, but heavy anti-tank gun, it's a pretty good dang tank. I mean,
Yeah.
it's shooting 8 shots of machine gun fire if it doesn't do anything else. So
Right. Right. So it's going to punch holes in your armor. It's going to punch holes if you're trying to hide behind walls.
yeah,
And if it catches you out in the open, it's going to be a machine gun city.
yeah.
Nice.
And so I have a Panzer III,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically it's a medium anti-tank gun version.
Right.
Um, it only has a single coax MG. The Armies of gives you an option to take a second coax,
Okay.
which is awesome, amazing.
Yeah.
So, so that's the two tanks for the armored platoon.
And again, the key thing is if you're building a tournament army, which a lot of people do, and even for a one-off game, you're going to pick this army out of one book or the other. You can't mix and
Hmm.
match.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah, it'd get really confusing if you tried to mix and match, and that would just be, yeah, I can't even imagine.
yeah.
Um, so artillery platoon, this is another comparison platoon.
Mm-hmm.
So we have inexperienced platoon commander because he's basically going to stay back and keep the artillery platoon moving.
Right.
So no sense in giving him anything extra. So we have a light autocannon artillery. We
Right.
got 2 of
Right.
those. Those are
Yeah.
really good. Horse-drawn limbers just for movement and also cheap dice. The good thing about the autocannons, any of these artillery pieces, I can swap dudes out between them.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and I was contemplating. I don't know if you noticed, but you have one of your horse drawn as inexperienced, and one is regular. Did you do that on purpose? And
it
spare
was
points?
so it was spare points, and
Okay.
there's if you wanted to outflank with it, it could be useful to tow it in from outflank
Sure.
and place this autocannon in somebody's flank or rear.
Right. Right. Okay.
There's a Nebelwerfer down there.
Oh my
If
god.
you got to have it if you're German, right? You got to have one of these.
I guess at a minimum range of 3 feet, it's not going to be good for long. But man, when it is, it's going to be nasty. You got to hide it in little
Yeah,
corners.
yeah.
Wow. So okay, you
And
nibble
we
that.
got to,
You nibble that Werfer.
yeah. So, and heavy weapons platoon. So, what would be
Ah,
a German army without a heavy weapons platoon?
right.
Mortar team, medium mortar with a spotter. Um,
Yeah, gotta have it.
and yeah, and this is the most got to have in the German heavy weapons platoon is the MMG team
Yeah.
because they get 7 shots and for 50 points, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's just yeah.
You well sight
Uh,
that gun, and yeah, you can tear people a new one with it. Now,
and then
just a reminder that spotter for the medium can also spot for the 2 lights, can it? Right?
Um,
Do the lights
only
have to be
indirect
red?
fire.
Right, right.
But they would have to be regular to do it. So
Got
you'd
it.
have to throw
Okay.
another 9 points in there. But
Oh,
he's going to be busy enough, and somebody's probably going to try to take him out anyway. So
yeah, yeah. We hate indirect fire. It's nasty. It kills
yeah,
everybody. Statistically, though, I've read more than one source that said most of the casualties in World War II were from artillery. Which is
yeah,
pretty interesting.
I can believe that.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
think I think even going into the modern era, most of the casualties in the Ukraine war have been
I
from
want
artillery.
to. I want to say it was some stupid number that it took like 100 bullets to kill one man.
I believe it. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
I mean, our riflemen are all well trained, but it's damned hard to move and duck and cover and try and keep rounds on a target.
especially if they're moving and hiding, and that's
Right.
like you say, yeah. So
Yeah. And then an anti-tank rifle team because why
yep,
not?
you got to have them. Yeah, they're good,
And you took them as regular, no
regular.
veteran.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't have the points. Although I probably could have squeezed some, maybe from that one squad, but I thought having the extra guy and it was worth the casualty in case they, you know.
Right. But again, this is one at 48 inches. It's going to lay pretty far back. Be
Hmm.
vulnerable to artillery, maybe. If a machine gun team gets in position, it could be trouble. Snipers could be trouble. But by and large, it's going to lay back and either pick off vehicles or turn guys into pink mist. So there you go.
Yeah,
Nice list, Randy. Heck, I'd play that one just like it is.
yeah, it's not bad. Um,
Oh, very respectable. And I always admire your ability to come up with a different lists. I tell people I have just one list. And that's what I play. I don't sit there and tweak and work. Nope, it is what it is. I actually need to add a little bit to mine. It's my German list works. I don't have enough American parts and pieces to make a good American list, and I really need to work on
yeah.
that. Okay, I got this on the last slide too. There we go. Check it out. All right, so
All right,
now
Armies
this
of Germany.
Armies of Germany. Okay, all right. Look at the first change there.
Yep. So the first change you'll see is we have an inexperienced officer with a pistol.
Pistol.
Taking that discount. He's got a Luger. Uh,
Where'd you
Hans
get your
with a Luger.
Where'd you get your German officer? Walmart.
Hans with a Luger.
Hans Mister Luger.
uh,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
he's not. He's not going anywhere. He's hiding, right?
Yeah.
uh,
So much relief from the front.
yeah.
Okay.
Not
Go ahead,
not a
brother.
British officer by any chance.
Mm-mm.
Um, So we got hair grenadier squads.
Mhm.
So you'll notice these are regular, but they only have one light machine gun because that's all they can take,
In the Armies of
unless
Germany
you make
book.
them veteran. So it
Right.
doesn't make sense to make a backline holder veteran.
Okay.
So I just brought them. You know, they're there to
Yeah.
put fire down range and throw out pins.
So you got
Um,
6, 7, 6. Okay.
yeah,
And one Panzerfaust in the platoon there. Okay.
yeah. So there
I do
is.
notice that you've still got your veteran assault rifle squad.
Yep, yep. So we have. There's only 5 of them, and there's a reason for 5, and we'll go into that in a minute. But they do have a
Yep.
Panzerfaust because they're going to be close to something,
Sure.
and I wanted to have that Faust to be able to pick out a target.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
And 12 inches is nothing to sneeze at, and 18. If they're moving, so it's got some pretty good reach to it.
yeah, yeah. Now we got a Spaßtruppen squad. So this is something new for the armies of Germany. They
Okay.
have infiltrator. If they are not increased beyond 4 man, you for 1 point a man, you can give them an infiltrator rule, and they have fieldcraft, and they got winter equipment, which really doesn't make much of a difference. But
What does
um,
Fieldcraft do for them?
they can run through rough ground like it's open. Which,
Now,
if you want to assault a forward artillery observer, you
right?
know, yeah, he can be
Yeah.
in a hard cover, and you can just take him out. Um, all
Yep.
rifles
Yep.
because I mean you're not really going to be assaulting with them. You might they're there to really get in the guy's back line and shoot and
Mm-hmm.
mess
Mm-hmm.
stuff up, pick on spotters and like company commanders if they can get close enough to them.
Right.
So they
Okay.
have the Gaber's Jager. I hope I said that right. Gaber's Jager.
I'm gonna let you play with that wonderful
I'm
Dutch
gonna
word.
butcher that one for you. How about
I get my teeth busted all the time. You're not saying it right. Mountain troops, y'all. Mountain troops. That's what we call them here
yeah,
in Georgia. But I love those as elite troops. I always have. I just think they're awesome.
yeah.
And
And
and so, what's their special ability? Gabrish
well,
Yager.
that gives them the. I know you said that wrong. That's for fieldcraft. That's how you get the fieldcraft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crafty. Okay.
So I think you have to pay a point each. When you only got 4 guys, that's not a lot of points
That's
to throw
okay.
out there to basically have infiltrator 4-man.
Sure.
They're veterans so that they can survive, pretty
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I mean, I can just tell the story of that squad. They've been together since '41. They've fought in Italy. They fought in the Caucasus of Russia. They just, they fought in the Tanzanian mountains. They've just been everywhere.
Yeah,
How's that for a cool backstory, huh?
there you go.
Yeah. Um, and then you got your platoon commander. So I was contemplating something the other day. I'll catch that when we do our other army reviews. So we'll talk about that. Oh, look, another inexperienced officer. Here's my
Yeah,
surprise.
company commander with a pistol.
Here's my surprise face.
Yeah. Say that point. He's not getting out there and shooting at anybody anyway. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, I got a couple light mortars just like the other one.
Sure.
And
Okay.
then so we have the 250/1 prototype little baby
Okay.
Hanamag that has double machine guns for
Yes.
65 points. It's like wow.
Yeah, because
Laying down,
if one machine gun's good, then two's better.
bring another, and it holds 5 guys.
Okay.
This is one of the Easy Army errors. It's supposed to say transports 5,
Right.
so that is where the Hare Grenadiers, the veterans with the assault rifles, will go in,
Yes. Yep.
and they'll have the Panzerfaust so that they can push up, jump out, and ruin somebody's day.
Well, yeah, I mean, not only that, that you got the Hanamag that can lay down fire while they're moving up.
Oh
So
yeah, of
I
course.
like it.
That's a lot of shots. That's not like 3 shots. That's 8 shots. That's
8 shots.
in
Yeah,
the
just
tank range as far as firepower.
yeah, yeah. For not a tank cost. I mean, what 15
hmm
points more than a regular medium machine gun? So, or a
I mean,
veteran machine gun. Yeah.
consider a Stewart that only gets 9 shots of machine gun fire. It's one more, and it costs 135 points. For half the
Wow.
cost, you get this, and it hauls dudes around that can stump out and shoot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Here we go.
All right.
Uh,
So armored platoon. All right. So now we
yes.
have the Panzer IV again, veteran, but this
Right.
time it has Panzer Ace.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the main difference there, which is it gives it an extra +1 to its penetration value.
Ooh.
Very nasty. So you take a heavy anti-tank gun, becomes a super heavy anti-tank gun.
Right.
So it punches really hard. Also, when you roll on the damage chart, um, you're going to get a +1 on your damage roll. So
Right.
pretty much you're going to knock something out. If you hit it, it's pretty much going to get knocked out.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Being veteran, it's going to ignore pins from, like light auto cannons and anti-tank rifles because it can't damage it unless it hits it in
Right.
the side.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And
Um,
that's your command vehicle.
yeah, command vehicle. And then the Panzer III again, medium anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
This time it's allowed to take an extra coax because of the Armies of Germany rules,
Mm-hmm.
which makes this a 12-shot tank that also has a medium anti-tank gun. So that's very useful.
That's called good for what ails you.
I,
Wow.
I've My British Airborne have been on the receiving end of a point blank encounter with one of these, and they didn't survive.
Yeah, yeah. Point blank, no. Just that's a body bag. That's a body bag pile waiting to happen.
So short story of that was I was trying to run the objective across the board,
Yeah.
and at the end of the turn, I ran just past this tank along beside it, and I was hoping to get the first dice, which I had a dice advantage the next turn, so I could push him on past. Well, I
Hmm.
didn't get the first dice; he did, so he just pivoted in place and brought all his guns to bear and just hosed them down. Yeah, it was a
You know,
mess.
there's two words for that. DACA and
Oops. Yeah.
DACA. All right. So third platoon, heavy weapons.
Yep. So we have heavy weapons platoon again.
Yep.
Platoon commander
Maintenance.
and yeah, Fritz with a pistol. uh, two medium
Oh,
mortars, or no,
yeah.
medium mortar with a spotter. Same. Nothing really changed there.
Right.
Um,
Right.
medium machine gun team. However, you see a difference here. Cost
Uh,
five more points.
okay. But it's got the flat special rule.
Yeah, for 5 points you get 7 shots of flak. I mean that's a
Uh-huh.
deal. I'll do that
Yeah.
all day long.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah. And I've heard from a lot of folks, especially you and other people, we're not seeing a lot of air, and when we do, it tends to get hammered pretty good.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with some of the German stuff that has a lot of flak
Mhm.
capability. So
Right. Right.
no
Okay.
anti-tank rifle, just because I didn't have the points.
Got
Um,
it.
so
Yeah.
it was left out, but it didn't change. There's nothing new about the anti-tank rifles in it. So,
Okay.
moving on to our artillery platoon,
Yep.
we have another German officer with a pistol, and yep, and then we have two 20 millimeter autocannons,
Okay.
and they are veteran.
Okay.
And why are they veteran? Because it allows me to take the Gaberjager
Right.
Fieldcraft, which means these dudes can run through rubble. They can you can deploy them in rubble. You can run through and back forth. So these autocannons can go anywhere they want.
See, now I thought that I know you can take artillery as a mountain gun,
Hmm.
and that allows you to move through terrain.
Yeah,
Uh, but you don't have the gun shield. Now these have the gun shield, and they can still move through terrain.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, works for me.
And they're
I should,
veteran. They're going to survive
right?
pretty well, especially if they're in hard cover.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And then we have the Nebelwerfer again, inexperienced, and that really hasn't changed.
Okay,
There's been a lot of changes between when version 3 first came out. There's been several FAQs that have changed the rules a couple of times on the multi rocket launchers.
yeah,
I think they finally settled in.
yeah. Because I think, yeah, one time they couldn't use spotters, but now they can. I think, right?
Now
If
they
they're
can, and they don't take. I don't think they take D3 pins anymore. They just take one pin, if I'm not
right,
mistaken. I might be wrong
yeah,
on that, but the biggest change was the 36-inch minimum range, which if you push up fast, you're going to get inside their min range fairly quick.
yeah,
Um,
and that's as it should be. The rocket
yeah,
launcher were not a tactical weapon. I mean, I know you and a lot of other German players like to take them. And if you see them on the table, then you got to move in on them quick. And if you
yeah.
can't, a smart player is going to have those two flat guns waiting for you, saying, "Come on, big boy, come get this
Yeah.
nibble work. We got something for you."
Well, so and also, because they're inexperienced, Nebelwerfers, they're going to have line of sight. They're going to get shot at, so they're not going to last more than a couple turns anyway.
Right.
Somebody's going to shoot them down. Um, so yeah.
But man, that's a cheap
Well,
3-inch HE.
so where you really get in trouble with these is if a guy wants to alpha strike you and he brings 4 Nebelwerfers and then he throws his company commander in there behind him and snaps all of them at once. So
That's
basically, he's trying to wipe you out in turn one or two,
sure.
and yeah, and then he doesn't care after that point because
Mhm.
there's not much left. So
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of that's what I was going to comment on earlier is, and I don't get to play a lot. Usually, I'm doing teaching games, so I don't see a lot of snap twos. I think one of the biggest challenges we have with the bolt action game is the die pull mechanic. It's what we like about it, but it also, you can be on the back there and be waiting on dice and waiting on dice and waiting on dice. Your commanders really allow you to twist, to at least tweak the tempo of the game a little bit.
yeah,
To your point, you put your company commander something like, and actually I was contemplating it with artillery, or with that heavy weapons team where you fire off the mortar and you fire off the machine gun, preferably both at the same unit, and you can very quickly write one or two units down in a hurry with, you know, effectively one die pull. Now, once you've shot that, you better hope it is effective, and you want to try and get guys that haven't activated, because then your opponent's going to he'll gain three dice later. But
yeah,
if you're knocking out one or two fresh squads and actually getting those dice out of the bag, that's a win. So there you go. Now,
yeah. So I tell you, if I think it's only in the Armies of books, but if they made a slight change to the intelligence officer,
hmm
you can add them to your headquarters units now in the Armies of books.
right?
Um, and so you do a die roll at the beginning of a turn if you want to pull the first dice out of the bag. It's like a
Yeah,
4 up, and they can pull the first dice. Which when you need that first dice, that could be huge.
sure.
Um, but I think it should be adjusted to the experience of the intelligence officer, maybe, so that maybe you could get it on a 3 up if he was
For a
veteran.
veteran,
Yeah,
yeah,
because it would make it to the point where it would be worth taking. But 50 points is tough to spend on a 50-50 chance that you can pull the
yeah.
first dice. Um, so,
Good point.
yeah.
Or go the other way. Drop 20 points, and you get a inexperienced, and you get
Hmm.
the first die on a five or a six, and that might be worth spending too. I like that idea. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll FAQ that. So okay,
Yeah.
let's see here. And that's it. Everything else is special rules. And again, I love the work that Easy Army does. You have your list here, and you've got all your special rules here. Generally, they're pretty right about it. Always make sure you check if you're running a game. Bounce this up against your latest FAQs and your rule books to make sure you've got the latest greatest as far as uh, applicability. Yeah, I can say that real fast. Um, for what you're trying to do. And
Yeah.
then, of course, our highlight here, the optimized German army.
Optimized. So I went a step further here with what I would bring.
So, well, before we dig into that, any other comparisons, contrast between the other two lists there?
No, I think that's just basic highlights. Obviously, there's probably some more. The Germany armies of they have so many units. We could probably go on for days about all the new special units that the Germans have gotten.
Right.
I mean, it's probably 20 units now that you can take for infantry,
Yeah.
but do different stuff.
hmm hmm You're gonna see some of that too with the armies of Great Britain. The American army just, I think, was still pretty vanilla.
Yeah,
You could, but yeah, the German army, and I think that again reflects the mix of, the German army wasn't just one army. It was the SS, the Wehrmacht, and the Luftwaffe, and they each had their own strengths and weaknesses when it came to field and ground combat troops. All right, so you dug through those two, and then you said, "All right, I'm going to optimize this one." Now, this is optimized from the Armies of Germany book, right?
yep,
Cool. Okay, and just a little bit of a commercial here. The guys here, these are the German veteran troops that they just came out with. They're awesome, and you'll see a couple tweaks on these. Great kit. Actually, you can build You can build a medium machine gun platoon from this kit, which is pretty gnarly. The 250/1 half track, and then the Panzer 3E, that's got that light and a tank gun. Could not find that in the Warlord catalog, so I ended up pulling something from another website. They've got the
Okay.
long gun, but not the short. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Oh, look, a platoon commander with a pistol ready.
You know I'm going to have that. I'm going to cut his points as much as I can.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us about this squad here. So
All
kind of
right.
different from the one you had before. Some of the naming conventions are a little different, and
Yeah.
walk us through it.
There's some similarities and there's some differences. So right off the bat, we have the 5-man veteran grenadiers with assault rifles and a
Yeah.
Panzerfaust. So they're going to
Okay.
ride in one of those special little Hanamags
Yep.
to jump out. Then we got a veteran grenadier squad because I
Nice.
want 2 light machine guns. Have to take it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they're going to ride. I think I have 2 of these Hanamags in here, and they're going to be
You
pushed up as well, so that they're veterans, so they can survive being closer, and the rifles get in range and add a little bit of firepower.
do. Nice.
So we have the spa Strupen again because I think that's just great. NCO does have a submachine gun here.
Say, why'd you give the NCO a submachine gun and spend those points?
I had the extra points, and sometimes the extra 2 shots can make a difference if you're,
Sure.
trying to knock somebody out.
In a
And,
fluid game, you would be amazed at how quickly you can get within 12 inches of somebody if you
yeah.
guys are both moving on an objective or something. So, yeah, it's
Well,
not a
with
bad.
them being infiltrators too, it's not hard to get within 12 of something, especially if you want to take out a forward observer or a spotter or something. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Or a sniper because they need killing too.
Yeah, sure do. Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right.
So then we have a regular grenadier squad with a light machine gun.
I can
So
I can see these guys now. You got all these snake eaters, these veterans, and then you got this air grenadier squad, regular squad, and they're like, "What the heck? Y'all are crazy."
yeah, we're not going anywhere up there. We're just going to sit back and fire this machine gun.
Right?
Uh,
You guys go earn those iron crosses. We'll let your wife know.
just keep the ammo
Wow,
boxes coming.
that's right. That's right. Oh, look,
Yeah.
an inexperienced company commander with a pistol.
With a pistol. You got a
Oh,
theme going here.
yeah, yeah. Well, here's the cool thing, though. Like the platoon commander, the company commander, if they're anywhere near those light machine gun squads, they can cook both squads off in a hurry.
Yeah.
That's a lot of rounds going down range. So not bad, not bad. Okay,
Yeah.
there's your 250
So there
slash
we
one.
go. Got
Yeah,
2 of the 250/1s.
yeah.
And of course, there'll be troops in each one of them, and they'll be laying down lots of firepower.
With 2 light machine guns, yeah, and then the troops that are on board as well, yeah. And again, I've always like to use those armed half tracks as a supplement to the troops moving up because they're just so useful. Again, don't
Oh
push
yeah.
them forward, lay them off to the side. Although in a pinch, your guys can tuck behind them, especially if they're getting pretty badly hammered. And if
Yeah.
for God forbid the thing gets knocked out, oh no, you still have a piece of cover, hard cover
Hard
you can
cover.
tuck behind. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like you ever see? Hey, did you ever see Beaujest? The where the French Foreign Legion's fighting at the fort.
No.
The crazy French commander, as his guys are getting killed, he's like, the next one won't hurt near as bad. He's putting them back up on the wall so the Arabs don't know they're dead. He's putting their rifles. And then he's oh yeah, it's great. So the
uh,
relief column comes up, and all these dead legionnaires are up there.
damn.
So even dead, we get service out of our troops. There you go, especially on the tabletop. There you go.
Yeah.
And
So
go
as
ahead.
far as hard cover for these things,
Yeah.
I've actually done this with my British LVT. It was a top secret scenario where you go up and grab the football and run back with it.
Right.
Well, basically, I pushed up and turned the LVT broadside in front of the objective, and the guys got out and they ran back with it. So the LVT sitting there blocking line of sight from just about everything, providing hard cover for anything else. It
Right.
allowed them to run all the way back across the board and get off the table.
Absolutely brilliant.
I
And
mean, they blow it up, but I don't care because it's just there to provide hard cover. You know.
Mr. Mr. Sucks to be you. Wow. Okay. Good play. Makes sense. Makes all the sense in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
And I've got a.
Kubelwagen basically put the company commander in it, gives him some mobility and a little
Yeah.
bit of protection. Makes him a super veteran.
Well, not only that, you just have this love affair with small vehicles. I mean, I know your American list. There's Jeeps just everywhere. So
Yeah,
not surprised to see the German equivalent of the Jeep in your
Jeep.
army
They
list.
hide
Hey,
so well too because they're
sure,
tiny. Yeah.
sure. Hey, I wonder. I don't have the list in front of me. Can the Germans use captured gear, or does it have to be specialized in the list? Could the Germans like use a captured Jeep? Be kind of
I
fun,
haven't seen it. No, I think in version 2 they had that,
right?
but that was theater selectors, I believe, when you could take
Got
captured vehicles. So
it. Okay. Yeah, I would. If somebody wanted to have a Jeep stand in for a Kubelwagen, I don't think I'd bat an eye. I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
it's a Kubelwagen, but I don't have a Kubelwagen miniature, so I'm using the Jeep. Okay, works for me.
yeah.
So,
Matter of fact, I had a Jeep with a German cross on it. It was painted gray and had a German
nice.
cross on it. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. All right. And
Here we
engineer
go.
platoon. Yeah.
So I kind of got the bug about this when I played at Moxie a while back. So I said I'm going to throw in a engineer platoon here.
Right. Right.
So we have officer with an SMG. He's
Ooh, going
inexperienced.
high spending there, Randy.
Yeah, and so the reason for that is he's able to snap 2-3. So
Okay.
basically, he can snap the vehicle, himself, and both the engineer squads.
Got
So
it.
what's going to happen is the Hanamag is going to push up. It's going to shoot the target, put a pin on it. He's going to jump out because he's got a submachine gun. He's more likely to hit with two shots. So he'll put another pin on it. And then the engineer squads are going to jump out. Not only are they going to shoot, they're going to fire the flamethrower. So this unit's going to have a ton of pins on it by the time it has to take a morale check.
Or 2 units, right?
Yeah, or
Now,
2 units. So I could fire the Hanamag at one unit, the officer at another, and then both squads come out and then they both take a target.
yeah.
Um, and they all have Panzerfaust too. One Panzerfaust, just in case there's a nice little armored target I want to, pop a shot at.
Or a building that you need to dig somebody out of.
Yeah.
So with the new
Well, the
HE
flamethrower is
rules,
probably going to do that anyway, because
that's
if
true.
nothing
That's
else,
true.
it's going to burn the building down. So.
That's true. Now you'll notice too, off to the right, I've got a guy with a flamethrower. Now this is, again is out of that veteran kit.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, it looks like the German Pioneer kit has been discontinued, or at least
Ooh,
it was not on the Warlord website. So it looks
wow.
like this kit may actually be replacing your German Pioneer kit because you can effectively build the Pioneers with this kit. They've got the flamethrowers.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might even have a Goliath. So
Mm.
again, that
That's a
not to be
cool
too
little unit.
yeah, not to be too commercially, but uh, of the new kits that they've come out with, this one most got my attention. I've actually got one on my work table that I'm working on putting together. From a modeling standpoint, they're early war, so you're talking field gray. None of the camouflage that you have to deal with late war units.
Yeah.
Um, and the only thing they're lacking is assault rifles. Oh no. Um, but other than that, they're darn fine miniatures, and they've got a lot of options. You see, big anti-tank mine there, the grenade
Well,
cluster bomb. So
and
go
you
ahead.
see these guys have submachine guns because they're going to be close anyway because they have to get close for the
Yep.
flamethrower.
Yeah.
So submachine guns are great. I
Yeah.
took as many as I could and still have the flamethrower with the assistance. So 3 submachine guns. They're going to definitely hit something. They're going to kill a few guys before you even hit them with a flamethrower.
Right. Right.
Matter of fact, if you wanted to, because you can target different units, if there was an officer standing nearby I might fire three submachine gun shots or three submachine gun guys at that officer, kill him, and the flamethrower go after a squad.
Because the flamethrower is an anti-tank weapon, so
Yeah.
it can fit a different unit.
Oh yeah.
That's useful. Okay, very
Yeah.
good. Nice list, man. I wouldn't want to be on. I'm sure I'll be on the receiving end of that. Like, hi,
Yeah.
Mike. Here's my optimized list. Prepare to die.
uh, how do you
Oh,
like your barbecue sauce?
yeah. There we go. I prefer I prefer the ketchup
I,
sauce.
honestly, I'm on the fence. I may run this at because I won't be able to run my Gurkhas after the end of this month. I may take this to Huracan.
Be a good list. Be a good one.
Yeah.
And you know they're doing a tournament too at Fall in Ocala.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. They're
When's
wanting to do a
that?
tournament. It's in October sometime.
Nice. I'll have to check into that. I
Yeah.
guess Brian's the guy I need to get a hold of from the
Uh,
Ocala Garrison.
yeah, that would be good. They
Okay.
actually have they've got a Facebook page. I'll throw a link to it in the description below.
There you go.
But yeah, they've got an event all set up. I went last year. Last year was their first year, and I got to tell you, it was for being a first year. It was a pretty good comp. As a vendor, I did well. As a player, I had
Oh
fun.
yeah.
I got to run 2 or 3 demos, and they ran a bolt. They had like, and now I know we're talking bolt action, but this con had they had bolt action tournament. They had a infinity tournament. They had a Mordheim tournament. They had a an alpha strike tournament. So they had a lot of stuff going on.
Not going on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
definitely worth supporting.
they did pretty well, especially considering they had to pull somebody in as a TO after the original TO couldn't be there.
Right, right.
I remember because I went to that one. Now I remember what the one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yep,
Yeah,
yep, yeah. And we'll be talking that up on our channel. One, because I like the guys,
yeah,
and I consider them kind of, we're headquartered in Savannah, or at least I am. You're out there in Fitzgerald, Georgia, East BFE. But
hmm,
basically, I try and talk up and promote anything that's going on in like Georgia, Florida, Southern South Carolina. So it's really one of the biggest things I've always done. And you know this, Randy, I've always been a big one about whether or not I'm running the thing or going to the thing. I want to talk it up because I want our guys to enjoy the community. And I just think
yeah.
that's really important. So there you go. Yeah, but this is a solid list. I'd play it in a heartbeat.
Is that the end of it, or I think we got another platoon, don't we?
We do. We have the armor platoon, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget all the platoons. So armor.
Yeah.
Um, the Daka Panzer III. Gosh, this is
Right.
such a great tank. Now this only
Right.
has a light anti-tank gun. Um,
Yeah. So
because
in
really,
real life, it's got a 37,
yeah,
3.7 centimeter AT gun. Yeah.
this is really mostly for anti-infantry.
Mm,
The anti-tank gun is mildly useful. Um, what I found works really well, because this is what I ran at Moxie, uh, is one of them the tank commander. I keep them close together,
okay.
and I take on a big tank with it. I will snap to both tanks, fire them both at the same time, puts two pins out. So even
Yeah.
if the other tank shoots back, he's going to be at a minus to shoot.
Right.
So that's useful. Matter of fact, if you wanted to get, if you're hitting a heavy tank from the front, you just fire HE, and then you can put D2 pins on them, and you can really pin them down pretty quick.
Wow. That's something they ought to look at because an HE shell shouldn't put any more pins on a tank than an AT shell does. But wow,
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
yeah.
And again, this is how the game works, and it's about playing the mechanics of the game. And this is your favorite thing, of course, is when you get pins on the poor fella, then he's got to take an order test, and God help him if he fails it,
Well,
because he could back off the board.
so here's the other bonus too. Like I say, I fire HE with these things, right?
Right.
Um, so I can fire the hull at something else, and I can fire the HE barrel at a target that I want to hit with my flamethrower. So I can hit him and put D2 pins on him before my engineers even get to him,
Okay.
and so that
Gotcha.
helps make them fail the morale check.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah. It's all about the number of pins you can put on somebody and what you
Yeah,
do with your officers. Really important. And Lord knows, version 3 is a pin factory. And what is
Yeah,
this little POS here? This Panzer
the
One.
the Panzer One. This is a great little tank. For 70 points, you're getting 8 shots. However, keep that in perspective. The 250/1 is only 65 points, and it has the same number of shots.
But it's open
Um,
top.
but it's open top. This little dude here can run over artillery. He can run over infantry. Soft skins. He can crush them. Um, so it's a cool little tank. I actually have one of these models. I don't know if there's two in this list or one. I can't remember.
Just one, and
Just one.
yeah, and this is actually what's kind of interesting. If you look through the whole list here, did you put any assault rifles in this list?
No, I did not.
So what
No,
you've
yeah, I
really
did. I do. I have the one grenadier
oh yeah,
squad that's going to
okay.
ride up. They have assault rifles. Yeah.
So this is classic bolt action here. You've got the assault rifle that came into service in like late 43, mid 44, somewhere in there. It was late in the war. Certainly a lot later than we see it in Army lists. And then on the other end of the scale, you've got these
The
early
Panzer
war
one,
tanks, right? These early war tanks, Panzer One,
little tin
Panzer
can
Three
that
E.
probably was used in World War One.
No, not World War One. But
No.
the Panzer One had been largely phased out.
Hmm.
I think in 1940. I mean, I think they may have used it going into Russia, but I know they used it in France mostly so to have more tracks. Um,
Yeah, I don't
these are
see why
all
not though, because if you want to support some advancing infantry, this
right.
thing's great.
Um, just production realities.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is
You can
great,
only
but they
build so many tanks at
can
one
only
time.
build so many, and they had enough problems as it was with all the variety. I mean, at the time of the Battle of France, the Mark III was actually the big anti-tank destroyer, or anti-tank, if you will. The Mark IV was actually envisioned as an infantry support tank. That's why it has the 75 millimeter howitzer. And then,
Hmm.
of course, the little Mark Ones were basically recon and anti-infantry.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got early war tanks with late war assault rifles. Go bolt action, love it. So, but it's a solid list. It's one of the things too, and I think we're at the end now on this. But
Is
again,
there?
it's one of
Do I have
nope, that's
another
it.
platoon? That's it. Okay. Yeah.
That- But it's one of the things I love about bolt action is you really can build the army you want to build. If you want to build, and this is at the back of my mind, I'd love to build someday a 1940 French army. That army is going to be competitive. I mean, John Ross wins consistently with French.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to build an early war German list and throw in some Panzerfaust, have at it. It's really from a tournament and a casual play standpoint, it's really a lot of fun. You really do get to. You're not under any of the restrictions that they would have been historically. Great list, Randy. Loved it.
Nice.
And you say this one was inspired by your experience at Moxie.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. And again, gotta give those guys a shout out because they had an army ready to go for someone that needed it, and we will too. Our tournament's coming up here, 28th of June. I probably should have had that on here, but all the information, any details we have, guys, it's all going to be in the description below. Please read it. We put a lot of information in there, but we are 2 weeks out from our tournament,
Yeah.
the summer tournament, and it's 1,250 points and I think 20 dice.
20
Uh,
dice.
yeah, tickets are $20, and that literally is going to pay for the venue. So there you go. Prize support is amazing. We're getting amazing support from Wargames Atlantic and Warlord. We're going to have some great kits on hand. It's going to be amazing. Didn't get anything from Rubicon, quite honestly, because I don't stock their things, and I feel kind of funny about asking people for stuff if I don't carry their products. That's just
Yeah.
me. Um, but yeah, so it's going to be amazing, and we will also have at least one, if not two, loaner armies. So if you want to come, and if you want to come, and as long as you're somewhat familiar with the rules, we've got one guy that talked about coming. I don't think he's played a full game yet. We were like, come on. And if you're a new player, come on, because our community is if we're nothing else, we're dedicated to folks having a good time. Uh, can't say we'll entirely take it easy on you, but you'll have fun. If you don't want to play in the tournament, we're going to have some open play that day. some probably 450 point armies that you can kind of get a test drive. Usually, I've got my Gentleman's War set out there that you can test drive bolt action and see if it's a game for you. Uh, I like it. I've liked bolt action since version 1. It's a good beer and pretzels World War II themed game. If you want to get really technical, you can play what, Randy?
Squad leader.
Squad leader. I had to get it in there.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
miniature wise, I think they say chain of command is probably the next level up, and it's a very
yeah.
similar style,
Hmm.
but it's got a lot more going on. But man, for beer and pretzels, put your toys on the table. I don't think you can beat bolt action, and for community, I know you can't beat it.
Oh
Our guys are great.
yeah. So this coming Monday,
Yep,
we've got a couple of guys in our IT department that I am going to bring I think 450 point British and German list, and
excellent,
I'm going to demo it to them. They've been
great,
wanting to see it, so
yeah,
maybe I can get them into the game. I'm
yeah,
going to go
great.
up at lunchtime, throw mat down, couple couple buildings, some just some light terrain, and just squads and transports and a mortar. I think is basically what I'm bringing.
Okay,
Uh,
I like to run that Gentleman's War set, and usually I won't even run the vehicles. I'll run just I run. I got headquarters, 2 support units. I got an ATR and a light mortar, and then 3 squads. So five, about 6 dice on a side. That seems
yeah,
to work good. And remember, you want to send them over to Gator Games and Books. There we go. We'll talk a little bit more about that offline. But this is what we do, folks. It's what Randy and I do. It's a huge part of why Gator exists. Is we're always wanting to introduce people to new people to the hobby. I mean, yeah, I want to sell stuff. That goes without saying. But what I really like, and Randy will tell you this point blank, I love a room full of happy people. I
yeah,
will just, I love it. It's why I like to be a TO. I like to just be watching everybody else have fun. It just makes my motor go. So there you go. All right, Randy. We've talked about our tournament. We've talked about 3 army lists. And
yeah.
if you want to see any of these lists, send an email to Gator Games, GatorGamesWayX@gmail.com. That'll be in the description below. Happy to share that list with you.
So,
Getting the
so what I
list
was
run.
thinking, Mike, is
Sure. Don't
we
scare.
did the American optimized list here a while back.
Yeah.
We now have a German optimized list that one weekend we'll get together and we'll film a game between those two lists and have them duke it out. What do you think?
I think that would be amazing. I really do. I love the idea. We're just gonna have to find a way to make that happen.
Yeah,
I'll probably have to do it honestly on a Sunday, uh, or on a Saturday over at my place. Of course, then we'll have the kids in the background, which will make it even more fun.
yeah.
No,
Um,
Dory, don't grab that tank.
yeah,
So there we go. But I love the idea. I think we can find a way to make that happen.
yeah.
All right, very good. Anything else? It's a great idea. I
That's
like it.
that's it for me.
Okay, and that's it for me as well. Thanks for watching. And again, like, subscribe, share. Best way to support the channel is buy some merch from Gator Games and Books. And we'll see y'all next time.
All right.